Welcome to this episode I am calling Armadillo Your Way to Higher Frequency. This is just fun because, okay, do you know about armadillos? Let's start there. These are funny little creatures, fascinating, amazing little creatures. When I lived in the South for a while, my husband and I lived in Georgia, actually right outside Savannah, for, I don't know, 4 years or so. And there's these armadillos all over the where, and they're like these, I don't know how to even describe them sometimes. They look like really big armored rats, even though that is so not an apt description. They don't look like rats at all, but they're like, these gray, funny little walk and waddle. They kind of do this funny little shuffle. They're just a sort of a goofy looking and of course amazing majestic creature. But they've got incredible armor. They have this sort of a shell around their body that protects them. And I bring this up because you may not know, but I am very, very fond. I strongly resonate with animal medicine. Native American animal medicine is something that I work with daily, multiple times a day, not to guide me, but to just open my awareness, right? To see things that I need to see, to receive message and information and awareness of what is going on in the world around me, or something that I am to place my attention upon and intention upon, attention and intention upon. And armadillo is something that came up into my attention today in this amazing Native American animal medicine that I find so powerful for me personally to use, as well as I know many others do as well. But what do armadillos represent in this animal medicine? They represent boundaries. And so I wanted to touch on this just a little bit today. This isn't boundaries then like maybe you're used to thinking about boundaries. Boundaries where it's, okay, I'm going to put boundaries in place for my behavior, but also boundaries in place to, manage a relationship or mitigate someone else's behavior or actions to you, right? Toward you. This isn't what I'm talking about with boundaries. Armadillo medicine today, I'm talking about how it relates to your patterns. Patterns, you say. What patterns? Specifically, your patterns of your thoughts, patterns of how you are being, patterns meaning your habits. Because you know what creates your life, right? You don't get what you want in life. You get your habits. You get the patterns that you execute on day in and day out. And those patterns are generated, right, from your identity, from your subconscious identity. And what is all of that then creating? Your frequency, which then goes out and creates in the world for you, your energy. So your patterns are very, very, very important. And shifting your patterns, how you actually go about your day, is critical to then shifting your frequency and shifting how and when and what you create in your life, right? Because you can't create, right, if you're in a broken pattern, something new. If you're in a broken pattern and you're wanting to be a non-smoker, but you're in the pattern and habit of smoking, well, you have to get out of the pattern of smoking in order to be the non-smoker, right? If you want to be at a higher frequency, you want to feel more peaceful, but you are in the pattern and the habits of having the negative thoughts and the fears and the chaos and the stress in your life, the worries about money, the worries about your health. If you are in those patterns, well, you have to break out of those patterns in order to then experience the peace, the higher frequency of peace, setting up a new pattern, a new sustainable habit and pattern of being peaceful, having that peaceful identity and being in that sustained peaceful frequency. Because change happens through sustainability. Sustaining your frequency equals sustained results and change. So busting out of these patterns is really important. And so I love that armadillo medicine came up to date around boundaries, because what is your intention with yourself when it comes to your patterns? When it comes to, oh, you just saw that the stock market dipped. What is your pattern of thought and feeling and action and frequency when that happens? Around money, what are your thoughts and patterns and feelings around money? What are your thoughts and habits and patterns around your health? You wake up in the morning and you go look in the mirror and you see your beautiful self, and you're standing there maybe naked in front of the mirror first thing in the morning. What are your habits and patterns and thoughts and feelings and frequency and then actions coming from you looking in the mirror about yourself, how you look, who you are, how good you are, your worth, what people will think of you? Are you beautiful? Are you not beautiful? Are you tall? Are you short? Are you fat? Are you slim? Are you loved? Are you not loved? Are you lovable? Are you healthy? Are you unhealthy? What are the thought patterns you get into simply by looking at your naked body in front of the mirror when you get up first thing in the morning? So I bring up boundaries because what boundary do you have in place with yourself about the thoughts and feelings, the frequency, and the patterns that you choose to experience in life? Nothing to do with anybody else. Nothing to do with the external world, but everything to do with your internal world. What are the boundaries that you have in place about what you will allow yourself to think and feel? And the frequency that you choose to be at. Are you in a boundary that allows you to stay in these patterns of, I am not worthy? To stay in thought patterns around, things don't work out for me like I want? Are you in thought patterns around scarcity or lack? Are you in thought patterns and feeling patterns and emotional patterns around, everything works out for everybody else but not me? Or, that feels like so much pressure over there, so I'm not going to do it. Or, that feels scary even though I really want to do it, but I'm afraid, so I'm not going to do it. What about the money? What patterns do I have when, someone ghosts me? What are the thoughts and the feelings and the emotions around that? Thoughts and patterns and feelings about your health, what you eat, what you don't eat. Are you an exercise person? Do you not exercise? All of these things. What is that internal boundary you have with yourself? Simply around your energy that you put out into the world and what you create. And that means patterns of thought, patterns of feeling, patterns of emotion, patterns of frequency. And then, of course, that creates action. You act on that. But I'm not even talking about the action. You stop doing the action if you change the thought and the feeling. The action is tied to your thought and your feeling patterns. So you start to operate differently in the world when you change your thoughts and your feelings. So again, about breaking those patterns and setting up this agreement, this devotion to yourself that says, you know what? I see that habit, that pattern of thought and feeling and frequency when it comes to, I stand on the scale in the morning and there's a number there and I don't like the number. Well, why don't you like the number? What is it about that number? Change the thought, the frequency, the pattern about that number, about how you feel when you step on the scale. If you want to feel better about that number, what are you going to tolerate in your thought and feeling and frequency pattern? What if that number is completely irrelevant and you just still choose? It's not, that number I don't like. What does that number represent? I'm too heavy. I'm not heavy enough. I'm not healthy. I am healthy. Changing it to, I'm perfectly healthy. I feel well in my body. My body is beautiful. What boundary do you have where you no longer kick off the runaway train of those thoughts and feelings and emotional patterns around standing on a scale in the morning, around paying your bills, around looking in the refrigerator for something to eat and you're hungry, or what you should or shouldn't eat. Every area of your life, about your business and your clients, or not having enough clients or having too many clients. What about time in your day? You're too busy, you're not busy enough, you're overwhelmed. Look at your patterns of your thoughts and your feelings, the emotions and the frequency they create that are kicked off by just something simple even. Your mother calls and gets into a whole thing about how much tomatoes cost at the grocery store. And you get triggered about money because your mother's in scarcity about how much the tomatoes cost at the grocery store. What thought, feeling, frequency, emotion, pattern is coming up just with a conversation about the price of tomatoes? Set boundaries with yourself for these patterns that you now are looking at that are like, whoa, this is a scarcity pattern. This is a fear pattern. This is a negativity pattern. This is a worry pattern. This is an anxiety pattern. This is a nasty self-talk pattern. This isn't loving. This isn't kind and compassionate or patient or generous or abundant energy in any of these thought patterns. Any of these patterns. Notice that. One of the things I love to do is if you take a sheet of paper, Here, I'll hold up a sheet of paper. Hold up a blank sheet of paper and you draw a circle on it. And inside the circle, you list how you want to feel. What are the things that you choose to experience in your life? What are the thoughts and the feelings and the patterns of emotion that you choose to feel and experience in your life? That is your medicine circle. That is what you are intentionally then choosing to experience and allow in life. And you start to then discern, okay, I'm going to draw, for example, a medicine circle about money. How do I choose to experience and think and feel about money? Draw a medicine circle about health and wellness and well-being. How do you choose to feel and experience and think about your well-being, your health, your wellness? Draw another one about your body. Draw another one about your relationships. Draw another one about your worth. Draw another one about fear. Draw another one about love. Draw another one about generosity or gratitude. Draw another one about anything else in your life. And put inside the patterns of thought and feeling and emotion and frequency you intend to experience around that topic, that experience of life. And you start to see, are you experiencing that? Are you being intentional about choosing that frequency path, that pattern, a pattern based in choosing love instead of choosing fear? Because we only have two states that we operate in. There's only love and there's only fear. And the highest frequency in the universe is love. And that is the place to be in and create from as much as we can. Now, we are human, so we experience the entire range. That's what we signed up for. Fear is not bad. Fear is not the enemy. But recognize then what you are creating if you are in a fearful, lack, scarcity, worry, doubt, anger, hate, shame, guilt, sadness, impatience, right? Frustration. All those things, they're rooted in fear. And that then is the thought, the feeling, the frequency, the emotional pattern leading you then to take some action based on that pattern. And that action then is being derived and stemming and motivated by the fears that you have. Well, instead, choose the path with love. What is the loving pattern that you're going to have in your thoughts? What is the loving pattern that you're going to have in your emotions and your frequencies? Write this down in your medicine circle. This is an agreement you are making with yourself to intentionally choose to respond in love, in this loving pattern. And when you are choosing to respond in this loving pattern, you are higher frequency. You are raising your frequency. And I get it. You sure as heck aren't going to get there every single time. No, we're human, right? Life's. We respond, we react sometimes in fear instead of responding in love, right? We're all learning, we're all growing. We're always being presented these opportunities to choose love or fear. And we do have these negative patterns, these low frequency patterns, right? But you're working on cleaning that up to move into this higher frequency so you create the high frequency soul aligned life that you want. And as you raise up into the higher frequency, the more you are in these loving patterns, these loving high frequency patterns, the more you raise every single pattern that you are in and shift it into a higher frequency pattern of thought and feeling and frequency and emotion, right? You are starting to sustain yourself now at a higher frequency overall. And that sustained higher frequency then is what is like super boosting the change in your life. When you are at a higher frequency and stay there and sustain that, right? This is how you create lasting, sustained change that you want. So draw the medicine circle and explore for all the topics you can think of in your life: money, health, wellness, love, relationships, whatever comes up for you as a topic to explore. Think about that topic and ask yourself, what are my negative thought patterns around this? Where does this come up for me? How do I feel about this topic? And then ask yourself, well, how do you want to feel? How do you want a pattern around this topic to play out? What thoughts do you want to think about this topic? Loving, high frequency, positive, good, abundant, peaceful, joyful thoughts. Choose those. Write those down in your medicine circle. Instead of, why can't I ever feel healthy, right? And you go off down the rabbit hole of that. Oh, I'm never going to heal. Oh, why am I always sick? Won't this go away? Oh, that rash. Oh, this owie on my foot. Oh, this. Oh, that. The IBS, the cancer, the things, the whatever, right? And I'm not at all giving medical advice here, but just an awareness of how you can shift your frequency to support yourself in your health, for example, here. So how do you want to think about this? How about I feel better? How about I feel good? I feel comfortable. I feel peaceful. I feel at ease in my body. My body is amazing and serves me so well. My body takes care of me 24/7. I have the most magical, amazing body. My body is filled with light, and every cell in my body is full of love and singing and dancing. Whatever it is for you. I feel so good, right? I am already healed. Healing is easy. Health is easy. Wellness is easy. It's so easy for me to stay well and feel good. Whatever it is, what are these thoughts and patterns that you want to experience around that topic? And draw that. And this then, you are setting an energetic vessel of intentionality and devotion to experience your health, your money, whatever it is, in this way, whatever you've written inside the medicine circle. But I wholeheartedly invite you to write it down so you physically have it, and you can put this wherever you want, on your computer, on your bathroom mirror, on the toilet seat, on the refrigerator, on the door, in your purse, on your desk, wherever, and you see this. And it reminds you that you are being intentional and devoting yourself and focusing your energy on these patterns, these loving high frequency patterns. You seeing it and hearing it out loud, well, it's also working on your brain to make shifts through your reticular activating system to support you in your biology to also be comfortable experiencing this new thought pattern. Because as you always hear me talk about, whenever we bring something new into our reality, our brain runs it through its filter of what is familiar and not familiar to determine if it is safe or not. But the more you see and you hear and you feel, this is training yourself that it's okay for you to have the new thing and bring it into your reality and experience it for real. So these aren't just empty words. This isn't just empty words on a piece of paper. And you take this even a step further when you are experiencing these positive, high frequency, loving patterns that you are choosing to put inside your medicine circle. When you breathe and move your system into vagal, which is the vagal phase of your parasympathetic nervous system. And I've talked about this in other podcast episodes. You can do that just so simply, even by just rubbing your ears and massaging your ears. You start to reprogram yourself to be at this higher new frequency, to be in this new pattern, to bust out of the habit of the old negative thought pattern. So, boundaries. And it's not so much a boundary, it's just now an agreement of you intentionally choosing to do your very best to move through your life with these new patterns. And of course, inside my programs, there's a bazillion other tools that I present to you to support you in doing that, to cement this all in and make these real lasting changes. But you can start doing this now through your awareness, through saying these new patterns out loud and seeing them and rubbing your ears. Rubbing your ears. Amazing. Or even tapping on your collarbone, tapping on your chin. Change doesn't have to be hard. No, it's not necessarily easy. It takes devotion. Devotion for change. Devotion to yourself. This is where change will come through for you. Devotion to yourself. And being devoted to stepping into these higher frequency patterns. So draw those medicine circles. Armadillo for the win. Armadillo for your higher frequency. This amazing animal bringing us this medicine about boundaries. Draw that circle. What do you choose to experience? What do you choose to think and feel and your frequency in your life? Those positive high frequency patterns to then create positive high frequency results for your high frequency life. It's amazing. And so just start doing one circle. Pick one thing. Pick money, pick health, pick relationships, pick whatever it is coming into your heart and your consciousness right now to give your attention to first. Just start with one topic and go from there. And then I'd love to hear how this goes for you. I'd love to hear how this goes for you because so many things come up. When my clients do this, so many things come up, and it's often just like the first layer. And there's layers upon layers and upon layers here, but you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. And it all is really about how do you want to feel? How do you choose to feel? What experience of emotion and frequency and thought do you want to experience in your life? Be devoted to that and shift then out of the other negative patterns that aren't serving you. Okay, so let's leave it there for now. And as always, shine bright. You already have the light within you. You are already pure love. You don't have to love yourself more. You just are about shedding all the crap so that you can see how much you already love yourself. And then allowing that love to radiate out into the world fully, creating the changes you want in your life, lifting yourself up and lifting others and the entire world up, all of creation up at the same time. This is high frequency stuff, folks. So big hugs to you, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye.